Welcome to Speak for Yourself. No J's rolled up before this show. Marcellus Wiley, Emmanuel Acho. You already know what we're starting with. It's on this Super Bowl Sunday. Can y'all bring this prompter? Oh, all right, there we go. The Rams are Super Bowl champions. There we go. I can't read that one far. Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown passes. I did smoke a J, I guess. Including the go-ahead in the closing minutes of Super Bowl MVP, Cooper Kupp. Aaron Donald had 2 sacks and the big play on 4th and 1 to shut down the Bengals. Would have been the 3rd sack to seal the win. Gacho, what's the biggest takeaway from the Rams Super Bowl win? There we go.
The biggest takeaway is that Sean McVay is the most intelligent person in football, period. I say this because Sean McVay is the Elon Musk of the NFL.
Yes.
Incredibly forward thinking. The old way of acquiring Super Bowls is dead and gone. Sean McVay has followed in and ushered in the new way to acquire chips. That's the biggest takeaway. That's what you all need to learn, because your favorite team either get on board or get left behind. As simple as that.
Okay.
The old days, early 2000s, mid-2000s, acquiring Super Bowls. Let's talk about the Patriots. You got to draft talent and develop talent. Tom Brady, Richard Seymour, Ty Law, Teddy Bruschi, Vince Wilfork, Willie McGinnis. Draft it, developed it, win. Baltimore Ravens, draft, develop, win. Ed Reed, T-Sizzle, Terrell Suggs, Ray Lewis, Joe Flacco. Draft it, develop it, win. But now look at the last 2 years. Last Super Bowl, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, Antonio Brown, Rob Gronkowski, Tom Brady. Just acquire it in the offseason or in the middle of the season and win. Those 4 players scored all the touchdowns in last year's Super Bowl. This Super Bowl, acquire it and win. Von Miller, 2 sacks yesterday. Tied most sacks in Super Bowl history throughout a career with 4 now. Von Miller, acquire it and win. Odell Beckham. He was the biggest difference maker in the game. Both when he was on the field, his presence was felt, and when he was off the field, his presence was missed even more than it was felt when he was on the field. Jalen Ramsey, say what you will about how much he struggled, but we know how good Jalen Ramsey is, and we also know how good Jamar Chase and T. Higgins are. So if Jalen Ramsey is not in the game, as much as he struggled, it still would have been even worse for the Rams. So what Sean McVay has done is this, been forward thinking. Sean McVay, very simply put, said, I'm going to trade first-round picks for Super Bowl appearances, and your team needs to get on board. The Rams have not had a first-round pick since Sean McVay showed up in L.A. The Rams don't have a first-round pick since 2024, but guess what? They got a Super Bowl championship. No first-round pick, but they got a chip. So Sean McVay is the Elon Musk of the NFL. Last thing I'll say is this. General Motors, you'll find this interesting. By 2035, they are committed to emissions-free transportation. Why? Not because they thought of it, but because they realized, get on board or get left behind. Elon Musk, forward thinking, said, you know what? Hey, we going with these electric vehicles. Now everybody else, we got to go with these electric vehicles. Netflix, Hulu, subscription-based. Now everybody and their mama got a plus behind it. CNN Plus, Disney Plus, everybody got a plus.
Fox Plus.
Sean McVay, being the forward thinker that he is changing the way in which you acquire, attain, and achieve Super Bowls. That was my biggest takeaway.
Let me get some of these ribs right here. I love that. You hit me with a little curveball right there. Amazing. To me, the biggest takeaway was the Hollywood team had a Hollywood ending. And usually things don't fall in line with the design. Something goes awry. You ever built anything in your life? You ever purchased a new home and wanted to refurbish? Anything you've ever said, I want to add into in terms of design, something happens. Usually a contractor will come to you, he'll have the blueprint, and he'll say, okay, this is what's going to happen. It's going to happen at this junction. Then all of a sudden you look up, you spent twice as much and you spent twice as long and still didn't accomplish exactly what you wanted. Well, not these Rams, not Stan Kroenke, not this team with Sean McVay. This team went out there and did exactly what it desired, and it did it exactly when it desired to do it. So a lot of people out there say that money can't buy you love. Stan Kroenke says Exhibit A. Now, let me go a little bit with your take and tell you that I also had in my notes. It's interesting when you talk about a business. It's more than just a thought. It's also being supported financially somehow, some way. The reason that all businesses fail, is one reason. They run out of money. Now, that running out of money could be 2 ways. 1, we don't have it, or 2, we shouldn't spend it anymore because this is not going to succeed. But you always get to that one place. You run out of money. Stan Kroenke and his support and all the efforts he went through from relocating from St. Louis to here and building this stadium, and the stadium taking longer than it should have, costing more than it should, and then going out there and now supporting this team in checkbook to the tune of where they are flexed. They are stressed in terms of the cap. Doesn't matter. We are all in right now. So in a world where we think that fantasies can't come to reality, this Rams team just took it and made it a reality.
I love that. My next biggest takeaway, and y'all get ready because I'm about to get up and go to the big board when y'all are good. My next biggest takeaway is this, Sel. Too much youth for the Bengals, and it was fully on display. The youth for the Bengals, the inexperience for the Bengals. What I'm about to get up and show y'all is the play in my mind that cost the Bengals the game. Nobody is talking about it nearly enough, but the one play that cost the Bengals the game. We ready? Because I'm headed that way. Ready or not?
I thought the Bengals lost before they even left the locker room, but let's see.
Not to me. To me, Sel, the Bengals had it, right? And let's go back to where were we? It was a minute and roughly 20 seconds left. The Bengals had to march down the length of the field, either get a field goal and tie it, or score a touchdown and win. The very first play, Joe Burrow, he drops back, hits Jamar Chase, plus 17 on Jalen Ramsey. The next play, Joe Burrow, he drops back, he hits Tyler Boyd, plus 9. It's now 2nd and 1. Get the first down. You got to get the first down. You need to get the first down. You don't need to take a shot. Okay, I just painted the picture for y'all of what happened beforehand. Remember what I just said. You got 2nd and 1. Why is that so critical? Because the Bengals are thinking, we need a score. You can't score if you don't get the first down. Second thing, Jalen Ramsey is 10 yards off of Jamar Chase. Aaron Rodgers would have thrown a now pass. Joe Burrow in the future will throw a now pass. But instead, Zach Taylor, he calls a go ball. Joe Burrow doesn't check out of it, throws the go ball. Now it's 3rd and 1. Well, 3rd and 1, you got to run the ball. You run the ball, you don't get the yard. Now it's 4th and 1. And on 4th and 1, you decide to pass against the best pass rusher of the generation in Von Miller, and against maybe the best defensive player to ever play the game of football in Aaron Donald. The decisions did not make sense, and so to me, the next biggest takeaway was the youth. Because I'm like, Sean McVay, in my mind, isn't making that mistake. I know he's not making that mistake because on 4th and 1, early in the game, Sean McVay, he runs a reverse to Cooper Kupp. 4th and 1, Sean McVay, he executes with the game on the line. 4th and 1, Zach Taylor, you take a shot against the best pass rushers of the generation. That, to me, Sel, was like, You're averaging 14 yards to start that drive. 14 yards of play.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow hits Jamar Chase for plus 17.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow hits Tyler Boyd for plus 9. You have all the momentum. You know how it is in defense in that position. You're scrambling. You're trying to figure things out. It's 2nd and 1.
Yeah.
Jalen Ramsey's playing 10 yards off.
Yeah.
Throw it now, get a quick first down, and then see what happens. You throw a go ball, you waste the down. I understand regular season, you can get away with that. Playoff Super Bowl, you can't get away with that. That play killed me. You know, I was subtly rooting for the Bengals.
What'd you say?
I was subtly.
What'd you say?
I subtly
How'd that
rooting
go?
for the Bengals.
How'd that turn out?
Obviously, it just turned out bad, Sal.
Yeah.
So that was my other takeaway. It was the youth, man.
Man, I hope your chest is ready because I'm about to punch it right here.
Please,
right in the middle. Let me tell you, you can't blame this on Joe Burrow. One play or the entire game. We can't do that. That dude went out there and played blemish-free football.
Of
right?
course.
Respect, including that play right there. I thought you were going to show me OBJ getting hurt. That's when the game changed. And that's when, if you're a Cincinnati Bengal, you got to smell blood and you have to attack. They did. They end up getting the lead into the 4th quarter. We'll discuss that later. But you just told on yourself. I know where you watched the game now. See, I could tell right now that you didn't stay at home and watch the game like me. Just intently focused on it. Sit down, MJ. I was watching it. Anna Marie, no, I don't need anything else. Just watching the game and then hitting the DVR during the commercial breaks just to make sure I rewatch everything. You didn't do that. You also didn't go to the game, because if you go to the game, for real, you ain't watching the game.
You ain't watching any of it.
You saucing up and then doing selfies. That's all you're doing, right? So I could tell that you went to a Super Bowl party. I could see it. I've been there before, the Super Bowl party, because you're half in, you're half out. You're a little half pregnant, basically, at the Super Bowl party. You catching everything. Oh, yeah, what's up, homie? Oh, yeah. Oh, good seeing you. Oh, I love the show. Thank you, too. Then you watch the show. Then you watching the game. Then you watching your boy. Then you watching the game. And what I saw from that is you highlighted something that wasn't the highlight, and that wasn't the change of momentum. That wasn't the change of mindset.
Disagree.
None of that was. You know what was? If
Please.
you really have to go to a certain time where you're like, what is going on here? Some would say that penalty on the last drive. I'm not going there. Joe Burrow, where are the Stogies at? Minute and a half left, 2 timeouts. You got the ball. This is your time. But you know what? This was different than all the other times where Joe Burrow was able to light that same stogie. The one that Snoop was like, puff, puff, pass. Joe Burrow had the ball at the end. Mm-hmm. And remember I told you, in all the postseason games before, the other team had the ball at the end. And their quarterback, the opposing quarterback, would throw it to their defense. And then Cincinnati, whether it was in overtime or Cincinnati in regular time, would go out there and win the game. That wasn't the case on this one. So the only thing you can really point to in terms of why did Cincinnati lose is because they finally got put in a position where Joe Burrow was asked to win the game at the end. Not the defense, not a joint effort, at the end. I don't want to highlight that because he's a second-year player who played a great game. But if you really want to go to the big board, go there. And show
so I don't want to have the why did Cincinnati lose conversation now. Obviously, we're having that later in the show.
You're right.
I don't think the Cincinnati Bengals lost because of Joe Burrow. My takeaway was the youth of the Bengals was on display, both from head coach Zach Taylor and from Joe Burrow. Very simple. A more veteran quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, a more veteran quarterback, Matthew Stafford. You look out there, you say it's 2nd and 1. I don't care what Zach Taylor called. Jamar Chase, I got Jalen Ramsey playing 10 yards off. Jalen Ramsey just got beat for 17 yards 2 plays prior. Let me just take the now pass. Give Chase a little signal, whatever the case may be. Give Chase a little signal, whatever the case may be. Throw it to him right now. Pick up that yard. Furthermore, Zach Taylor is my head coach, is my play caller. You can't call that. You can't waste that down right there. Other thing, and a lot of people are trying to figure out why wasn't Joe Mixon the star running back in for the last drive. I went back, I rewatched the game, I had to remember. The Bengals are going to pass the ball.
You already know that.
P. Ryan is a better pass blocker. Joe Mixon, if y'all recall, went to cut the linebacker for the Rams earlier on in the game. Didn't go well. Linebacker plays off the cut, sacks Joe Burrow. So Zach Taylor, I don't fully fault him for not having Joe Mixon in. But if you are going to run the ball on 3rd and 1, I probably would have trotted Joe Mixon in because the time was stopped. After your 2nd and 1 incompletion, time is stopped. Bring in your workhorse. Bring in your second best offensive player, one of the best running backs in the game of football. Put him in. My takeaway, Sel, was the youth of it all. To your point, I was at a watch party, but I was watching the game on my phone with my headphones in and watching the game on TV. And I rewatched the game this morning.
You ain't getting that invite next year. I'll tell you that.
So as I did watch it and rewatch it, I said, what changed? You hit Jamar Chase, you got 17 yards. What changed? You hit Tyler Boyd, you got 9 yards. What changed? Sean McVay, in my mind, out-schemed him. I'll end my thought by saying this. Everybody says quarterbacks don't play quarterbacks. Defenses don't play defenses. Coaches, offensive coordinators don't scheme against offensive coordinators. That is a vehement lie to me. A quarterback has to outplay the opposing quarterback. A defense has to outplay the opposing defense. A coach has to outcoach the opposing coach. Why do I say that is a lie and I fervently believe that in my theology or doctrination of football? 4th and 1, game on the line.
Let's go.
The Rams are rushing for 1.5 yards a carry. 4th and 1. Game on the line. Rams average 1.57 to be exact yards a carry with their running backs.
My dog.
The Rams are sitting here like, it's 4th and 1. 3 minutes left. Game on the line. We can't run the ball. What does Sean McVay dial up? A reverse to Cooper Kupp. A jet sweep to Cooper Kupp. Picks up 8 yards. It's 4th and 1. Game on the line. 50-something seconds left. Zach Taylor, what do you dial up? Mind you, Joe Mixon is averaging 4 yards a carry. What do you dial up? You dial up a pass play versus Aaron Donald and Von Miller on 4th and 1. And Sean McVay, you dial up a brilliant jet sweep on 4th and 1. To me, the difference in the game, coaches in my mind do coach against coaches. That's an argument for another day. But for me, it was Sean McVay, the teacher, remained the teacher. And Zach Taylor, who used to coach under Sean McVay, for those that don't remember or aren't familiar, the student remained the student.
Time! Good Lord, that was a take. Okay, all right, well, I understand. Rest, young soldier, rest. Oh, man, you just turned something really simple into something that was a little more complicated because in this world, big bank takes little bank. Okay, here we go. Let's use Issa Rae as an example. I like this. Issa Rae, I heard of her when she was on YouTube, I guess, right? Blowing up.
Awkward black girl, yep.
Okay. What was the name of the show?
Awkward black girl.
Yeah, viral sensation. And then Big Bang just takes Little Bang. Oh, that's cute. Cute show. Let me just help you out here. Let me put you on HBO. And then obviously becomes who she is, a sensation, a star. Now, in this world, you saw 2 teams going at it. One has the worst budget in scouting in the NFL. One just bought itself an all-star team. So let's just say the backing was certainly behind this film, what the Rams were producing, right? Michael Bay style. One of those type of films versus, oh, you're doing amazing on the net, but you're also not on the same level. So we see the Rams go against the Bengals, and what happened in this moment? It was really simple. You saw a talent conversation that looked kind of evenly matched, even though the Rams had the advantage once they got the injuries. No Higbee, no OBJ for most of the game. All of a sudden, you started to say, oh, the Bengals are right there. But the culture and the currency wasn't there for the Bengals the same as it was for the Rams. So when you get into a moment of truth, what do you bet on? You only can bet on your talent. And what Zach Taylor did was look at Joe Burrow and said, I heard what Acho said about you in do-or-die games. Everybody knows that Joe Burrow can show up no matter what the moment is. It's never too big for him. So Joe Burrow tried to go out there and do what Joe Burrow does. They didn't abandon the running game because they actually ran the ball much more effectively than the Rams did. But the Rams said, let's just get the quantity. We don't care as much about the quality. Joe Burrow tried to do it at the end after being knocked off in terms of some of the sacks, the 7th sack. I don't know if it's the 6th or the 7th sack. Dog. He almost was decapitated. But Joe Burrow was the only reason they could still stay in that ball game. So it's not about them being outcoached to me or this team being young and showing its colors. It's about a team that said, this is all we got. And then all they had was Joe Burrow trying to do what Joe Burrow does. It just came up short because I think he went against something greater. Coming up, Mark Sanchez is in the building, and he'll help us answer what this Super Bowl win means for Matthew Stafford's legacy. But first, we'll tell you if we're more impressed by the Rams yesterday or disappointed in the Bengals. Gonna chop that up. That's next. Don't speak for yourself. The Rams are Super Bowl champions for the first time in over 20 years. The Bengals were up by 4 points in the closing minutes, but Matthew Stafford led his squad on a 79-yard drive, capping it off with a go-ahead touchdown pass to Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp. Acho, are you more impressed by the Rams or disappointed in the Bengals?
A little bit of both. An incredibly nuanced question. Let me start with why I was impressed by the Rams. I'm impressed by the Rams because Odell Beckham was balling. Odell Beckham was the battery pack, if you will, for the entire Rams offense.
Facts.
All of a sudden, Odell Beckham, he goes out. Like Marcellus said earlier, you're playing without Tyler Higbee already, who's your third best receiving threat, playing without Odell Beckham, who's your second best receiving threat for 3 quarters, and you still found a way to get it done. Incredibly impressive. I'm most impressed also, along with the Rams, because of Sean McVay. Everybody in a mama cell on Twitter was like, Sean McVay, stop running the ball. Stop running the ball. You can't gain a yard by running the ball. Understand this sometimes. Running the ball in football, even if you can't run the ball, is like going to class as a student, knowing that your attendance grade only counts as 5% or less, but you go to class anyway, not because it's going to help your overall grade in the class, but because you might get a pop quiz. So just by attending isn't necessarily boosting, but what occurs when you attend? Why am I saying that? Without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford was not in his bag at all.
No, got the numbers.
So Sean McVay is like, sure, I could just pass the ball every single play like y'all are requesting and demanding on Twitter. But what happens if I do? What is the opportunity cost, if you will? What risk am I running if I sit here and try to pass the ball every single time? Sean McVay kept the Bengals honest. It might have been a waste of a down, but it wasn't turnover on downs. It might have been a waste of a down, but it wasn't going the other way. So also impressed because Sean McVay, he just sat there in it. He didn't panic. Offense was inept without Odell. Matthew Stafford threw a couple picks without Odell. Couldn't run the ball. He didn't panic. He stayed true, found a way to win the game. Incredibly impressive, especially if you're Sean McVay. You got to have a little bit of PTSD. McVay heard Marcellus Wiley. He heard me during the course of the week. Sean McVay, 3 points, last Super Bowl, a NFL record low. Without Odell, struggling, you might lose again. You're trailing by the end of the third quarter. He didn't panic. Rams didn't panic. Impressed.
Yeah, for me, you ended with the word impressed. And I wasn't impressed by the Rams, but I wasn't disappointed by the Bengals either. It was really a game in the balance. Like, okay, I see this one looking like it's a draw. How are they going to play this out? Because you see the Bengals give up 7 sacks, get outgained, and have more penalties. But the one thing that they won, and the most important category that they won, 0 turnovers. Those turnovers by Matthew Stafford, those turnovers by the Rams kept the Bengals around. Now, all of a sudden, I'm like, I want to be impressed by the Rams because, 1, look at the result. But 2, yeah, they did win the game, but golly, you're going out there at the end of this game. They literally were with their first and fifth best receiving options. 2, 3, and 4 were hurt or at the crib. And Robert Woods, I did see him at the end show up on that podium. Smart dude. But the point is, this was a team that was depleted, but still found enough juice just to cross that finish line first. So I look at these two games, these two teams in this game, I'm like, it just felt a little upside down. Kind of 50 Cent at the halftime show. What the hell? That was 30 years ago they did that. He's still doing it. Anyway, 50 Cent upside down looked like this game to me upside down. Like the Rams let the Bengals hang around. The Bengals actually took the lead in a way that we thought that they were going to finish the deal. But they didn't finish the deal. Rams go down there exhausted. Cooper Kupp getting force-fed the football. Still cross the goal line. Now, this is supposed to be Joe Burrow time, and I didn't see it as Joe Burrow time. For whatever reason, they didn't have that same mojo and moxie, in part because the Rams are just more talented. So this looks like a game that, how did the Rams win? You only got Cooper Kupp, being real. And then no running game. How did the Bengals lose when it's like, oh, you had a good running game and Joe Burrow didn't have any blemishes? It's a weird one to add up on the stat sheet. It's a weird one to add up even when you're watching it, but it added up for the Rams.
Man, so I am a lot of disappointed in the Bengals. I'll break down the nuances of to why here in a second. But, Sel, I know this much. The Bengals may not have been supposed to win the game. The Bengals might not have ever been supposed to be leading, but they were.
Yeah.
6 minutes left.
Yeah.
They were up.
Yeah.
20-16. Sure, you shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
But you were. So at the point in which you find yourself there, now just get the job done.
Yeah.
If you're in a race and you are the underdog and you're not supposed to be leading with 50 meters left of that 400, that one time around the circle, but you are, find a way to get it done. So if I'm a Bengals fan, I'm like, okay, we aren't as talented a team on paper in theory.
Yeah,
we don't have the same offensive line, obviously. We don't have the same pass rushers. But somehow, some way, things have gone in our favor enough for us to be up with 6 minutes left.
And then what?
Refs missed a call on T. Higgins. Jalen Ramsey's having a worst game of his career. Somehow, some way, we winning with 6 minutes. That's why I'm like, yo, Bengals, find a way to get it done. Y'all got breaks in the Super Bowl that nobody can take from you. We would have been here debating if it was a PI on T. Higgins all day had the Bengals won. We wouldn't have taken the Super Bowl from them. Remember, Sel, when the stadium lights went off, Ravens, Niners, Super Bowl. Sure, conspiracy theory this, conspiracy theory that. That's when the game changed. But you're not taking that Super Bowl from those Ravens, even though maybe they shouldn't have been there, maybe they shouldn't have been ahead. Either way, if you find yourself in a position to win, like the Bengals found themselves in a position to win, they have to find a way to win. And furthermore, you have to eliminate Cooper Kupp. I'll talk about that more here shortly.
Yeah, but they were out of their element. They were out of sorts. And people, it's funny, I went to the NFL Experience this weekend. And I went through the experience as Gen Pop. So if you don't know what Gen Pop at the NFL Experience is, just think about food in the jungle. I was getting attacked. Like, Gen Pop is you're with the masses, and I like that. You know, when I go to SoFi games, I sit in the seats. I don't like doing all that box stuff and hide. You take a selfie through the glass and a picture through the glass. Like, I like to be around my people. Anyway, it comes at a cost. So I'm walking around the NFL Experience, and everybody was telling me all their Bengals talk, all their Bengals noise. I kept hearing it. Oh, well, Joe Burrow's going to finish this. I said, let me tell you something. Joe Burrow has not finished these games like advertised. And it's okay. He's a second-year player. Well, y'all stop doing this to him. Remind you guys, young Tom Brady wasn't finishing those games either. It was the defense. Now, in this game, all of a sudden, it couldn't be the defense. They just gave up 7 points to lose the lead. Then it was Joe Burrow's time. This wasn't a Raiders game where Derek Carr could throw an interception and save the day. This wasn't when Ryan Tannehill could throw an interception and save the day. This wasn't when Patrick Mahomes could take a sack and throw an interception to save the day. This was Joe Burrow. Just throw another touchdown. What'd you say? Oh, I said throw another touchdown. Maybe not. Take an almost sack and the game ends. Now let's get to Jalen Ramsey, because I got to get it in there. You mentioned his name twice, and I was like, I'm not going to say this, but I got to help him out. Because right now the narrative is out there, man, that was a horrible game. When they call you out on the most televised event in the world, and they say this is not your best day, That's going to be a long offseason. I'm going to pick up Jalen Ramsey right now in this moment. Tell him something that happened to him that maybe he doesn't even know what happened. It wasn't his worst game of his career. It was just the worst game at the worst time. He got caught with something that we used to do as pass rushers. A rip move is this, right? And then somehow, some way, I ain't going to say the veteran's name, but he told me that a rip move doesn't always have to be so clean. Doesn't have to always be by the rules. We all wear face masks, right? So especially linemen, they wear long face masks. Some of them go all the way down to their chest, the big old bar. And a lineman taught me in practice how to do a rip move and grab the face bar and yank at it. And all of a sudden, I'm not lying, I got at least 3-4 sacks in games. All I did was, he doing this, bye-bye, never called it. Now, I didn't use it all the time because I didn't want retaliation. I didn't want all of a sudden get that name out there. He got caught with one. Higgins did that on purpose without me knowing he did it on purpose. It was an easy one to see. It was an easy one to do. Just do this, and all of a sudden the ball's in your hands. So Jalen Ramsey, don't have that rough offseason mentally because you're still a beast.
I love that. And let me make one more point. This is why I was actually livid at the Bengals defense at the end of the game. Livid. I was in excruciating pain as a former linebacker, is somebody who tries to be defensively astute, and is somebody who listened to you talk to me all about how great the Bengals defense was.
Yeah.
Because Bengals defense had one job: eliminate Cooper Kupp. And when I show y'all just how glaring an omission of the one job you had to do was, you will be livid too.
Let's
Back
see
to the
this.
big board. I'm getting my cardio for the day.
I see
I'm
it.
getting my cardio in for the day. Okay. I'm still mad just thinking about it. Let's break this down very clearly. Odell Beckham, number 2 wide receiver, is out the game. Tyler Higbee, the Rams' number 3 wide receiver, didn't even suit up for the game. So all the Rams truly have as a lean-on-me player is Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp has 178 receptions on the year. Everybody else collectively has 88 receptions on the year. Cooper Kupp has 90 more receptions than the next 4 Rams starters. Bengals, take Cooper Kupp out the game. But let's move through the slides so y'all can see how imperative it was. Without Odell Beckham, Matthew Stafford was struggling terribly, targeting everybody else besides Cooper Kupp. 13 of 21, 96 yards, no touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a 33 passer rating. So Matthew Stafford couldn't do anything when he's targeting anybody besides Cooper Kupp. So please just take Cooper Kupp out the game. Next slide. So now you know Cooper Kupp is everything. The last drive of the game, it was roughly 4 minutes for the Rams, the last legitimized drive. 18 total plays. Cooper Kupp was involved in 8 of them, including a 4th and 1 reverse for a first down. And the last 5 plays of the game, let's look at the next slide. The last 5 plays of the game, Cooper Kupp was involved in 4 of them. A pass to Cooper Kupp, PI. Pass to Cooper Kupp, touchdown called off because of penalties. Another pass to Cooper Kupp, PI. Quarterback sneak. And then the last play of the game, last important play of the game, Cooper Kupp for a touchdown. Sel, everybody had to know the only player who could have beaten the Bengals was Cooper Kupp. And somehow, some way, they still let Cooper Kupp beat the Bengals. It was infuriating to me because Cooper Kupp was the only guy who could have done it. Double team him, triple team him, quadruple team him. I do not care, but you cannot let that happen as a Bengals defensive staff. You can't let that happen as Bengals players. You can't let that happen as a prideful Bengals defense, which you, Marcellus, rightfully so, bragged about all week long.
Yeah.
You can't in a Super Bowl, you can't let it happen.
Yep.
Pre-game meetings, you and I are in a meeting room. Coach is telling the entirety of the defense, only one guy can beat us. Cooper Kupp, only one guy can beat us. Odell Beckham goes out at halftime. Hey, Cooper Kupp's the only guy that can beat us. Cooper Kupp's the only guy that can beat us. You can't let the only guy that can beat you beat you.
I totally agree with you in theory. And we've all been there where Coach has highlighted that player. Player X is the only one we have to worry about. We handle them, we're good. Let me just give you a couple examples why that sounds a lot better than it actually is. Aaron Donald on the last play from scrimmage, did anybody see him double team? He was though. No.
That was slid left.
That was a slot, yeah, but he wasn't double team. He had the guard fanning out, expecting some support, not getting that support. So he all of a sudden ricochets, does his new move, ricochets off the tackle.
This is
Yeah,
talk about it.
right
Talk
here.
about it.
Oh, Aaron Donald. Look, first of all, this is practice to Aaron Donald. Let me tell you, you're supposed to get the slide protection, the fan protection in this. But Aaron Donald ends up one-on-one with a guard.
So talk to me, Stel, because I pulled this play in preparation for this conversation.
Yes.
Guard, if you're going to get beat on the inside where the center, Trey Hopkins, my former teammate at Texas, is looking to help.
Yeah.
So that's again why I'm disappointed in the Bengals. Because you have a scheme.
But fan protection is still not a double team. Fan protection is to try and gain width so that now if you are going to get beat, as you said, I will help you. But that's still not a true double team. If anything, this is to my point. Aaron Donald basically got a single block on the last play from scrimmage in the Super Bowl. The same way I'm going to say this about what you just highlighted at the board about stopping Cooper Kupp. The plan is easy. Working it is not. And that's what happens in moments like this. Aaron Donald, who? I'll come out of retirement. Give me that right there. I know what to do.
Me and you got to fight. Me and you got to fight right here, right now.
Let's go.
Because if Aaron Donald is at the three technique, let's speak in basic terms.
Yeah.
If Aaron Donald is lined up outside of the offensive guard, then the center slides to the guard's left.
Yes.
The guard knows, hey, if you get beat, just get beat inside.
Yes.
We're not mad at you for getting beat at all.
No.
We anticipate you getting beat. That's why we're sending Trey Hopkins, one of the smartest offensive linemen in ball, one of the most athletic. That's why we're sending him to the left, because we are anticipating you getting beat.
Yeah.
So if you do get beat, just please get beat to where we're anticipating you getting beat. You can't get beat to the one place you're not supposed to get beat.
You know who else knows that he's not supposed to get beat to the outside? Aaron Donald. And then you know also you keep giving this center some love and a little bit of prop. One more time on that loop. I'm going to tell you what the center did wrong. He did a check hand. Now, a true double team, Aaron Donald over there, I got fan protection, I got to help you out. Watch what the center does with his snap hand. And you're not supposed to do this when you know that there's no one on your shade and Aaron Donald's the guy that you're trying to double team. I want the zoom version. One more time. Watch his snap hand. It's a check hand. Watch his snap hand. He's going to snap the ball, and then it's just going to go into the air. It's just going to go if you're really trying to help me, bro, and you know, I'm going against arguably the best defensive player ever. You know what you do?
Talk to me. What
I want you to do is I want you to be more intent in your shadowing, because he's trying to act like somebody else is coming over here. That means someone else is threatening me, but no one by alignment is threatening you. So what is the threat? Aaron Donald, like you said, this player can't beat us. And if I'm there with intention and directions to double team him, I don't need a check hand. I need a shadow.
So here's my only retort to that is, the coaches can only do so much, right? Coaches can only say, hey, we're going to double team this guy. We're going to slide to this guy. We're going to chip this guy. We're going to do something to this guy. If you got 1.5 men on the only truly fans at home.
I love this.
Truly fans at home.
I love this.
The only place this offensive guard on Aaron Donald cannot get beat. The only place is to his left. You can beat me to my right eye. You can beat me to my right shoulder. You can beat me to my right thigh. Just don't beat me to my left. And he got beat to his left. To me, that's why I'm not as impressed with Aaron Donald as I am disappointed in the Bengals on that specific play, because you had the right call in theory offensively.
No, you didn't. There's a more direct call than the check hand for someone who's not shaded. There was 2-3 techniques. Who are you? Acho, you're Aaron Donald, and I'm about to block you, and there's no one here, and I do this. What are you doing? Now, coaching? I don't know. Or you just got lost in the moment? I don't know. But you're Aaron Donald, so all I got to do is just kick. I don't even need to fake that.
Either way, based on how the guard plays it, that center couldn't help him. Because the guard gets beat so far outside. What's that center going to do? Overrun the guard?
No, the center now becomes a chipper, but he's now second chipper, as they call him. So right now in this position,
what do you want him to do?
I don't want you to be dragging on the same level as Aaron Donald. I want you to right now intercept him. Walter Jones did this to me before. Y'all ain't going to have it. It ain't even on YouTube. I played before that. But the point is, it happened to me before where I went against the guard, outside, knowing that he's trying to slide me outside. Walter Jones just looped around, intercepted me before the quarterback. You got to know these things. And look, it takes time, it takes experience, and it also just takes you doing what you're told. Block Aaron Donald. I don't give a damn. What is this fake block for nobody when Aaron Donald is sitting there needing your attention? Coming up, Mark Sanchez is in the building. We'll tell you what this Super Bowl win does for Matthew Stafford's legacy. Boy, we went deep in them weeds. Next on Speak for Yourself. It was the last play of the Super Bowl, y'all.
Fact. I'm like, it was.
I just couldn't believe it. Welcome back. Joined now by friend of the program, Fox NFL analyst Mark Sanchez in the building. It's time now for a rewarding performance brought to you by Capital One. What's in your wallet? Matthew Stafford spent 12 seasons with the Lions, had 0 playoff wins. Comes to L.A. and wins the Super Bowl in his first season. Stafford finished with 3 touchdown passes, including a 79-yard drive for the go-ahead lead. So, Acho, what does this win do for Stafford's legacy?
We'll revisit it again, but it puts Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame. That's what this win does. Now, here's why it does put Stafford in the Hall of Fame. Because legacy is not reality. Legacy is memory. So when you talk about what's to do for Matthew Stafford's legacy, well, the legacy is going to put Stafford in the Hall because he's a Super Bowl champ, one of the greatest quarterbacks of the generation, one of the most talented quarterbacks physically the game of football has ever seen. That is the legacy. Now, the reality is never been an All-Pro, only one-time Pro Bowler, and wasn't Super Bowl MVP. So the reality is going to contradict the legacy. But as far as the legacy is going to put Stafford in the Hall of Fame because 5 years removed from playing the game of football, we're not going to remember who the Super Bowl MVP was. Like, why rarely think about the fact that I believe it was Malcolm Smith was Super Bowl MVP for the Seahawks in that game. Like,
you don't remember Malcolm Smith?
You don't think about I remember him because he's a linebacker.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Me too. That's why I was like, what?
Linebackers could win NFL Super Bowl MVPs?
It's not the NBA MVP, like finals MVP. It's a little different.
It's a little different. Nobody's going to be cognitively thinking like, oh, wait, Stafford didn't win. We're just going to kind of assume Stafford won. Huge for Stafford's legacy. Puts him in the Hall. Legacy, different than reality, but everybody needs to come to terms with that. I think this was this solidifies Stafford's legacy.
I 100% agree. I think he would have been a Hall of Famer maybe without the Super Bowl. Maybe there's an argument for it, but I think it just puts him in a different category now because at first, going into this game, you think about the Marinos, the Warren Moons, guys, Phillip Rivers, Vinny Testaverde, Matt Ryan, Carson Palmer, Drew Bledsoe.
Yep.
Those are great ball players and really, really, really good quarterbacks who just never won the Super Bowl, right? And that's okay. That's not a crime or anything, but dang, like if they would have won, that might have propelled any of those guys in.
Of course.
I think this solidifies and validates everything he's been through in Detroit. Everything his career now speaks for. 50,000 yards passing. I mean, it's a no-brainer now. I think he's in the Hall of Fame easy.
Yeah, for me, more than solidify, validate, it makes you look at his resume and start to highlight how you were sleeping on Matthew Stafford. So it's really not how great Matthew Stafford is now. It's how you got to check yourself because you didn't recognize greatness even in Detroit. I mean, he was the great student at the bad school. And we just got caught up in what the school was and not really going through the details of finding out how great he was. Like this. Most game-winning drives since he's been in the league, Matthew Stafford.
Clutch stat.
Now, the narrative was, the guy is not there when you need him most, including in the postseason, right? 0-3. But just this year, in 1 year with the Rams, he has a great regular season, MVP candidate, and gets better in the postseason. So all of a sudden, you start to look at the same thing differently. Let me personalize it. I knew growing up that I was smart. Why? Because I was on the academic decathlon team, right? I was a little nerd, dog, and I loved being a nerd, despite getting punked a lot because I was a nerd. I didn't get it. But I didn't think I was ever a genius. But I knew there was one thing that could make people think I was way smarter than I was. Go to Columbia. Simple as that. Like, it wasn't even that deep. It was like, just go to Columbia. I ain't got to fight anymore. I can say double negatives, which I do every show. I can go out there and not complete a sentence, which I do every show. And guess what? Y'all got to just be like, it's like him now with that Super Bowl ring. Say what y'all want. Right? And that's what I think it did. It made not only everyone look at him differently, but look at how they evaluate differently.
I love your point because I think it synthesizes all the points we're making. I don't necessarily think it's reality, right? When you talk about whether Stafford in the Hall of Fame, Stafford being elite, I was looking at the game yesterday, and to me, Matthew Stafford was underwhelming. If Joe Burrow, Zach Taylor, Jamar Chase, and Joe Mixon lead the Bengals on a touchdown drive to end the game, we're talking about a completely different story. We're talking about how helpless Matthew Stafford is without Odell Beckham. That's what we're talking about.
Great point.
We're talking about the fact that Matthew Stafford threw 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions without Odell Beckham. We're talking about the fact that Matthew Stafford on the day had a significantly lower passer rating than Joe Burrow. We're talking about how Matthew Stafford's completion percentage, atrocious. Matthew Stafford touchdown-interception ratio, atrocious. Matthew Stafford pass passer rating, atrocious. Matthew Stafford's passing yards, relatively atrocious without Odell Beckham. That's what we're talking about. But because Matthew Stafford, like Marcellus Wiley, can say, I went to Columbia, Matthew Stafford can say, I won a Super Bowl. Ain't nobody talking about nothing. It's just, he won.
He won.
That's what it comes down to.
Got the job done. All you were talking about in the segment before I got here was Bengals. Like, don't let this happen. Get the job done. Finish it. Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. And he did it. He's that kind of guy as a person. Whatever it takes, he'll get the job done. I think that's why the players love him. But 7 for 11 on that last drive, 57 yards. Like, did you see the ball he threw up the sideline to Henderson?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? That's a 6'5" D end in front of him, and he layered that ball over him, who covers so much grass, and then the safety's coming over to take that guy's head off. Like, Matt made some incredible throws. The en route to Cooper Kupp.
Cooper Kupp, the no-looker joint. Yeah, that was phenomenal.
Dude. A signature no-look. So whatever it takes, he got it done. That's why the guys love him. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up the no-look pass because I'm going to take you guys. It was insane, but I'm not going to lie. I already had been hip to Matthew Stafford's greatness before I think it was advertised to the national audience.
Now it's popular. Now it's cool.
Now it's cool. You know, it's the show that, like, you didn't catch when it was on, and then all of a sudden Netflix has got it, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, this show's amazing. I'm like, I already saw it. I saw it when it was on USA.
Been on that.
Yeah, been on that show, right? My boy, Dennis Northcutt, Dino, hit me up in 2011. And that's my dog, man, from L.A. And he hit me up. He's like, let me just tell you something. Matthew Stafford is silly. I was like, now, we don't go to silly. Like in football, we say somebody fast, and then we say, no, he blurry. When you silly, I was like that? He was like, I've never seen it like this before. Trust me. And this is in training camp. After his first practice, I remember him, I'm like, really? He was like, it is next level. But it wasn't properly advertised. The no-look pass we saw in the Super Bowl was millions of people not looking at Detroit for many a years when Matthew Stafford used to throw off-angle passes all the time. Throw no-lookers. And it's just going to be crazy how we got to dust off his resume and dust off his record because he's been doing this stuff before.
Here's what's crazy, and I think these are the nuances of the conversation. As we listen to it, I'm the least loud. Double negative. I am the least loud.
You're going to get away with that in Texas.
To the Matthew Stafford praise. Sanchez might be the loudest here in the middle. Here's the thing. We're really letting this one Super Bowl victory, and rightfully so. Don't you? But I said rightfully so. We're letting this one Super Bowl completely change the narrative of Stafford. Because,
that's what happened.
I mean, but here's the thing. Is this Stafford any different than the Detroit Stafford, for better or for worse? Like, you're saying it as though he's the same guy, and that's a good thing. But I'm saying it as like, wait a second. Stafford didn't play great, y'all. He won, and I'm glad he won but Stafford didn't.
Okay, fine. Tom Brady didn't play great in the entire playoffs last year.
Yeah, but we talked about that.
207 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, though.
But it was a Super Bowl
and it was the defense carrying them all the way to that point. But you know what you need to highlight on Matthew Stafford? This is what was highlighted yesterday. Who had the highest passer rating in the fourth quarter this entire year? Matthew Stafford. Okay. When they needed something at the most,
he's the closer.
He's the closer. So it's crazy. The narrative was he's not going to be there when you need him most. 0-3 in the postseason. Who led the league in passer rating in the fourth quarter? And who showed up yesterday to the point, let's juxtapose that to Joe Burrow had the narrative that he is cool Joe. Give him the ball at the end, he's going to find a way, right? They gave him the ball at the end. But they didn't give him the ball at the end in all the other 3 postseason games. It was the defense taken away from the opposing quarterback. So to me, I love this as almost like a real TV show. Yeah. Like what you see is what you get in Matthew Stafford, but now he's in a different situation. That tide was so much higher that Matthew Stafford could surf the same, and it's just going to look different. It's going to look better. But Matthew Stafford, dog, he been this.
But let me ask y'all this in closing. Did Matthew Stafford pull this Rams team to a Super Bowl victory yesterday? Because when you don't win Super Bowl MVP, when you are the only turnovers of the game, and a couple of them, your turnovers kept the Rams from getting points at the end of the first half, and your other turnover gave the Bengals points when the Bengals were really kind of out of it late in the first half, if y'all do not recall. Like, are we not, and he won a Super Bowl, so give him the flowers that he needs to be given. But for the sake of Overreaction Monday, do you all not think that we might be excessively praising the same Stafford when if Joe Burrow goes down there and they score or get the field goal or Zach Taylor doesn't start freaking out, the same exact game that Stafford played, we would not have been singing these glowing praises.
Yeah, I mean, the W in the win column is the most important thing. Like, that was what needed to happen. And throwing the iconic touchdown, leading that iconic fourth quarter drive, those become the narrative now.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm okay with that because that's the reality. Now we're going to get into something, but let me answer your question first. Yeah, Matthew Stafford deserves the props. He went out there with his number one receiver and then his fifth best receiver. 2, 3, and 4, gone, right? So you give him respect in the receiving in terms of the passing game because you're like, where my receivers go? Where's his running game?
None.
40-some yards rushing.
Non-existent.
So no running game. I only got my number one receiver and then number 5, and I just won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Give him props. But you just walked me into a conversation we always have. This is why I respect Hall of Famers more than Super Bowl champions. Because look at you and what you're doing right now, trying to take the carrots off his ring right now, trying to undermine a Super Bowl champion. But walk up to a Hall of Famer and try and slight him. You're stuck.
Right.
There's nowhere to go.
The resume.
That's my argument, dog. I'm not selfish. I just see it clearly. Coming up, Matthew Stafford came up big Sunday, except for Nacho, I don't know. But so did Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald. We'll tell you which Ram deserves the most credit next on Speak for Yourself. Yeah, they be shooting at them champions. They don't shoot at Hall of Famers. Boy, stop.
They're going to shoot at Eli.
The Rams' big-name player stepped up Sunday. Matthew Stafford threw 3 touchdown passes. Cooper Kupp had 2 touchdown catches and was named Super Bowl MVP. So he's at Disneyland right now. And on the defensive side, Aaron Donald had 2 sacks and a big play on 4th and 1 to shut down the Bengals. Mark is back with us, but Acho, who deserves the most credit for the Rams' win?
Cooper Kupp with ease. And I didn't like the debate on social media.
Oh.
I hope I like the debate here on television. Because at least I'm being compensated for this one. But the debate on social media, I absolutely hated. Let's break this down very simply. Cooper Kupp went into that game with 178 catches on the season. The Rams' next 4 receivers on that lineup went to that game with 88 catches on the season. Everybody knew you have to throw the ball to Cooper Kupp, and somehow Cooper Kupp still found a way. With the game on the line, last 5 plays of the game, pass to Cooper Kupp, pass interference. Pass to Cooper Kupp, touchdown, but it's called off, penalties both sides. Pass to Cooper Kupp, pass interference. Quarterback sneak, Matthew Stafford, and the game-winning pass to Cooper Kupp. Let me break this down in the simplest way I can. The last drive of the game, Cooper Kupp, 7 targets. He either caught everyone or the defense got a penalty on every one. Cooper Kupp was what you call automatic. Cooper Kupp deserves all the credit.
Somebody had to call the plays.
Yeah,
Somebody had to throw him the rock.
buddy.
Somebody had to get the Bengals offense off the field.
Super Bowl
I mean,
week.
they got him into 3rd and 9s, forced the Bengals into 3rd and longs. 2 sacks for Von Miller, 2 sacks for Aaron Donald.
Oh.
Bro, they all showed up when they needed to show up.
Oh.
I can't give it to one guy. You know me. I'm. Come on, man, I'm
We are the world
politicking
up
out
here.
I can't, dude. I can't.
Ambassador.
It was the ultimate team sport and the ultimate team win yesterday. I can't say one guy did it because it was a collection of all those players. Yes, Cooper was outstanding. He was the MVP with the 2 touchdowns. But it was all of them, dude. Matt played a hell of a game other than 2 passes.
It's not that hard for me, Sanchez.
Give it the defense.
There is a pecking order. There's a pyramid of success, and most of the room's at the bottom. When you get up here, people start falling off. And now at the top of this pyramid, I will see Aaron Donald sitting there mighty. Acting like he too short right now. Talking about, I'm going to retire after this album. Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. He coming back. But Aaron Donald, why? Cooper Kupp stat line, amazing. Especially when you don't have the number 2, 3, and 4, and they're all on in terms of attention and bracketing you. 8 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's amazing. That's amazing. If you would have told Cooper Kupp that was his stat line, he said, I'll take that. I'll take that. And you know why you hear his voice flinch a little? He's like, not 100. Oh, but 2 touches changes it because you get the points.
Of course.
But then if I look at Aaron Donald and you get 2 sacks, and then the third one really was a sack. Ended the game. So let's just say 3 sacks. But you don't want to go there, fine. 2 sacks, 4 tackles, 3 quarterback hits. And more importantly, when he pushed Joe Burrow out of bounds, everything on Joe Burrow in terms of that moxie and the stogie and I'm going to come back, that went out of bounds with him. All of a sudden, the entire complexion of that game changed with that one push. That was the legal push in bounds. Because Aaron Donald changed the complexion not only for his team to go out there and get all the sacks, because in 22 straight dropbacks, the last 22, there were 7 sacks on my man Joe Burrow. Because Aaron Donald also changed the complexion not only for his Rams team, but he took it away from them in the Bengals in terms of comeback efforts. I got to go with Aaron Donald at the top of that pyramid.
I love it. I love this conversation.
But then why not Vaughn?
No, exactly. But here's my point. Because, again, I wanted to go Aaron Donald. I saw the Aaron Donald points, both from Nick Wright on First Things First this morning. So I said, wait a second. Why isn't it Aaron Donald? Why is it Cooper Kupp? The first reason I said, well, I can't go Aaron Donald is because I asked a question Mark Sanchez just asked. I had to ask myself, why not Vaughn? Vaughn had 2 sacks. On the 2nd and 1 that got the Bengals to that 4th and 1 where Aaron Donald made a miraculous play, Von Miller has a killer spin move. I'm sure you remember.
Already.
Killer spin move on the right tackle. And forces Joe Burrow to get rid of the ball immediately. If you go back and watch the screen grab, allegedly Jalen Ramsey fell down. So I had to first ask myself, why not Vaughn? That eliminated, to me, Aaron Donald, because like Marcellus said, bottlenecks at the top, has to be only room for one. Okay, why not Stafford? Because when Stafford was targeting everybody else besides Cooper Kupp on that drive, he tried to throw an angle to Henderson. Incomplete. He tried to throw the ball to number 18. Can't pronounce his last name. Played at Notre Dame. Skowronek. Incomplete. He threw the ball to Hopkins, the 3rd tight end, a couple times. Picked up about 14 yards total. So that's why not Stafford to me. Because Stafford was still throwing the ball, but when he was throwing the ball to anybody but Cooper Kupp, it was not the same result. So now why Cooper Kupp over Aaron Donald? Because that's really what it comes down to. Aaron Donald played several plays on the Bengals' last offensive drive. He didn't impact all them things. He played several of them, but he tried to pass rush and got double teamed. He didn't impact every one. Cooper Kupp impacted literally every play. Forget catching the ball. Sanchez, you remember this because you look at the game from the offensive point of view. It's 4th and 1. You have to run the ball or get 1 yard. But the Rams, like Mark Sanchez and Marcellus Wiley so eloquently said, averaged 1.57 yards a carry. So Sean McVay is like, I can't turn around and hand it to Henderson. Sean McVay's like, I can't turn around and hand it to Akers. Who am I going to give the ball to? I got to get 1 yard. I'm going to give it to Cooper Kupp. Before Cooper Kupp did anything catching the ball, he solidified the game on 4th and 1 running the ball. Cooper Kupp made 7 impactful plays on the Rams' last drive. Aaron Donald just didn't do the same thing.
Oh, he did?
That was amazing.
He did?
Watch the play. Like, you ready? In my opinion, watch the tape.
See, this is why I don't go to Super Bowl parties. See, here we go.
Watch the tape.
Here we go. One eye on the screen.
I rewatched the game.
One eye on the team.
This was not a Super Bowl party. I rewatched the game on NFL
Did you see
Game Pass
3rd and 1?
this morning.
Did you see 3rd and 1?
Yes, sir, on 3rd and 1.
Who made that play?
Aaron Donald. But remember the other D tackle on the 3 technique on the right
95
side.
made the play.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Who stood up?
The other guy.
First of all, who stood up their block
Aaron
and then
Donald
pushed them, and then all of a sudden with the long arm, down the running back has to run into who was there, his teammate. Then on 4th down, who made that play?
Aaron Donald.
Well, then hold on. You just told me in the end of the game he didn't make plays. That's with an S.
I'm like, Cooper Kupp made 7.
Yes.
7.
He's a receiver.
He had more impactful plays than Aaron Donald.
Correct.
I mean, we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, that's the point. You told me.
And you get points.
This is...
Cooper Kupp did a lot, and he got points out of it. Aaron Donald got a sack and a almost sack. And
why not Vaughn, though? Answer that one. I'm interested.
Why not Vaughn?
I'm interested in your answer. I had to ask myself the same thing.
If you look at it, that was a postseason high in sacks for Aaron Donald. I know a lot of people would probably say, he's had more. No. And then going into this game, he only had 1.5 before this. Why not Von Miller? It's not a shot at Von Miller. It was Aaron Donald showed up to the same level as Von Miller, but when they needed it most, the last 2 plays, you had to say Aaron Donald's name in that. To me, to end it, because without Aaron Donald, Joe Burrow, at least in Mystique, we're thinking may drive the ball down the field. Here we go again. And Cooper Kupp, where your efforts go for that. So to me, Aaron Donald's the one that sealed it, even though we know a lot of that content stuffed in that envelope was Cooper Kupp.
Go ahead.
I don't even know how to debate this. This one's so hard. Listen, give it to the GM for assembling the team. I don't know. The coach for calling all the plays. All I got to say is them going back to the fly sweep. They haven't run the fly sweep in like 2 seasons. Okay? To hit it on a 4th and 1, to pull that thing out of your back pocket and go to that well that's been dried up, that was unbelievable to me. It caught me off guard. I never would have thought that.
Okay, since we're going to go sideline, Sean McVay, we're going to go upstairs, the general manager, Les Snead. Seriously, the way I think, you know me, life is a sandwich. No matter how you flip it, the bread comes first. Stan Kroenke. Bruh. He wrote the check, the first check, and I think it was $600+ million relocation fee. Then all of a sudden you got to go through litigation. You're getting sued by the city. Then I have a $2 billion stadium in Los Angeles that was supposed to be done 3 years ago. And then all of a sudden, rain delays. Yeah, stop lying. Y'all just trying to tax
rain
the man.
Delays. How about the pandemic delays?
Yes.
They didn't even have fans in there.
Right, but before the pandemic, they said rain delays. We know you're rich, so the stadium's not going to be $2 billion. It's going to be $4 billion. He's like, fine, here you go. So you're already paying St. Louis, you're paying relocation fees, and you're paying for a $4 billion stadium. That's still not done. Then the pandemic hit, and they say, all right, it's now $5 billion, and you can open it up, but no fans. Cronky's like, whatever. Then, after that, you look at your salary cap situation, and you're like, we got to go all in. No draft picks in the first round, all in. Cooper Kupp, who's amazing next world, makes $15 million a year, which is pretty good, but he could get more.
Not top dollar.
Not top dollar, and that's my point. So whoever constructed this, amazing. Sean McVay for dealing with these personalities on a daily, but more importantly, Big Bank took Little Bank. Bengals, you lost because Kroenke just kept writing the checks necessary to hit the finish line.
Love it.
And finally crossing it first. Coming up, we're talking about the Bengals. We'll tell you who's to blame for their loss. All right, Mark, you can't say everybody. That's next on Speak for Yourself. Sunday, it's the most iconic day in all of motorsports. The Daytona 500. Vroom, vroom. The Great American Race kicks off the 2022 NASCAR season at 2:30 Eastern, 11:30 Pacific, only on Fox and the Fox Sports app. The Rams held up the Lombardi Trophy last night. So what happened to the Bengals? Joe Burrow was sacked a Super Bowl record 7 times, and their offense did not score in the fourth quarter. They were still up by 4 in the closing minutes, but the Rams came back to seal the win. Acho, who's to blame for the Bengals' loss?
Oh, Sal, who do I blame? I blame Eli Apple, cornerback for the Bengals. Why? Because I'm watching the game last night like this, and as soon as I see this formation, I jump up out the chair, and I'm like, wait, I've seen this play before. I swear I've seen this play before. I instantly yell, speed out, speed out, speed out, because December 13th against the Cardinals, I was watching the game. Matthew Stafford, he's on the hash. Cooper Kupp, he's off the ball. 2 indicators. The ball's at the 4-yard line. Speed out. I remember this happening so much so, y'all, that I took to Twitter and I tweeted about it. Because after the DB got beat, I was like, man, I hate offensive players. Stafford and Kupp got these Cardinals DBs down bad on the sideline. December 13th, watching the game, Stafford, 4-yard line, in the boundary, Kupp off the ball, speed out. It happened. I remember that, and I am no longer employed by any NFL team. So I need the Bengals cornerbacks to remember that. Why? Because what happened at the end of the game on Cooper Kupp when we get a penalty? Matthew Stafford, he's in the boundary. Ball's on the 4-yard line. Stafford's on the hash. Cooper Kupp, top of the screen. He's off the ball. We've seen this picture before. Speed out, speed out, speed out. Eli, you got to know it's coming. If I know it's coming, if I remember it's coming, you got to know it's coming. Now you get flagged, automatic first down, and a couple plays later, you get beat again. Everybody was getting their jokes off on social media. Social media is not real life. But what is real life is a Super Bowl. What is real life is a ball at the 4-yard line, Matthew Stafford in the boundary, Cooper Kupp off the ball. Those immediate triggers have to go off for Bengals defenders. If they went off for me, and I watched the game against the Cardinals 2 months ago and just tweeted about it, they have to go off for Bengals players. So who do I blame? Really, the Bengals secondary. Clearly, Eli Apple had a bad game, but that play is the one that vividly stuck out to me. That play, in my mind, that series, cost the Bengals a game.
Amazing work there. Amazing film work right there. Oh, so much of the preparation is the separation, as they say.
That's it.
It allows you to not guess, but anticipate. And so many plays are made in your mind before they're made on the field with your body. Amazing. I wanted you to give me the wide shot of that play because you want to say it's Eli Apple, and I'm not going to dispute that. But I want you to go to the wide shot. I mean, like really to the entire crowd, the stadium, and then into the owner's box. Because I'm going to notice that the real person to blame for this loss was the general manager who, listen to this. Imagine walking to somebody's door and you're like, oh, let me see their name tag on their door, or their title is principal owner, president, general manager, and de facto general manager. It's all one man, Mike Brown. Respect to you, Mike Brown, because look, your Bengals from a 2-win team, 2 years later they're in the Super Bowl. But damn, you got too much on your plate, brother.
I like that.
You're wearing too many hats. And if you saw Mike Brown anytime during that game, he shouldn't wear a hat. That hat was drunk. I don't know what was wrong with his hat. But the point is, Mike Brown doing too damn much. Woo! Let me give it to you simply in sentence form. Aaron Donald has more All-Pros and Pro Bowl selections than the entire Cincinnati Bengals team roster. Now, a lot of people can say, well, their best players are young. Yeah, well, the last 2 drafts, they hit hard and they did well. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, respect. But we all know it's not just the sizzle, it's the substance. We all know it's the meat of the team that matters most. So you look at the Rams last night, and the Rams have all these all-stars. But what we don't talk about is that the Rams also have put themselves in this position where they're in their second Super Bowl in 4 years because not only do they have stars, but they actually got the meat of the team, the substance as well, interchangeable parts. I don't see that in Cincinnati just yet. That's why I don't know if this is going to be repeatable in Cincinnati. This is a team that was trailing in almost half of their games after the first half this season. Okay. This is also a team that was the least penalized team in the NFL, in part while they were in the Super Bowl. But then you see them have 3 penalties in 10 seconds inside the 10-yard line, and another 2 minutes left in the game. They lost their way. They lost their discipline. So to me, it wasn't a play here, it was a play there. They weren't set up to properly succeed. They overachieved, as most would say. And as we know about most overachievers, good luck to them achieving the same thing again. So who's to blame? I hate to say it, it's the guy who deserves all the praise. Also the same guy who deserves some of this criticism, Mike Brown.
I love your take. I don't fully agree with it, but I love it because it makes me think a little bit deeper. Here is why I don't blame Mike Brown, because what we are doing, Sel, is comparing a microwave to an oven. Both cook, but one does it a little bit faster. Now, what we know about an oven, and you know this, I think we've talked about this off camera. When you reheat something in an oven, it's going to stay warm a little bit longer.
Yeah.
When you reheat something in an oven, it probably has a little bit more substance to it and a little bit more value for longer, but that microwave going to get the job done quicker. So it all depends on how hungry are you and how much do you desire the dish. Why do I say that? The Bengals are the oven because they are drafting their players and developing them. Sam Hubbard, the Bengals, one of the Bengals' best pass rushers this season, drafted to the Bengals. He was drafted to the Bengals the same year they drafted Jesse Bates, the player that got that phenomenal interception in the end zone, the safety for the Bengals, drafted to the Bengals. Well, a couple years later, Bengals draft Joe Burrow. Obviously, we know who he is. They draft T. Higgins. T. Higgins, 100 yards on that game, caught the longest pass Jalen Ramsey's ever given up on his career. T. Higgins catches that on Jalen Ramsey. You draft Joe Mixon the year after, the year before, you go out there and you draft Jesse Bates and Sam Hubbard. Then this previous year, you draft Jamar Chase. Peace. So I won't say that Mike Brown is to be blamed because Mike Brown has the Bengals in the oven. They're going to slow cook. They're clearly preheated. The beep has gone off, and now they're heating up. The Rams just put that joint right in the microwave. Oh, Odell Beckham, midseason? Yep, microwave. Von Miller, midseason? Yep. Matthew Stafford, offseason? Yep. Jalen Ramsey, a couple off seasons ago. So the Rams, they bought it all right now, but remember, Von Miller, free agent. Odell Beckham, free agent. So the Rams are a microwave. It's hot.
Okay.
And it's hot right now. And like microwave food that you put in the microwave, you're instantaneously satisfied. But it can cool off a lot quicker. Just like that oven, you put that joint in, it's going to be hot. It's going to stay hot. So I don't necessarily blame the GM. I just think he's taking a different approach.
I like it. I like it. Now let's have some fun with this and torture this example. Microwave the Rams, oven the Bengals. Where's the air fryer? You ain't been in my house. I'm using that air fryer more than both of them boys put together. You told me that to draft and develop was an old model.
Yes, sir. I think it's extinct.
To my point. Like, what's also extinct is that you wear 4 different hats in the organization. That's extinct, and you're applying that to a model that's extinct. One thing I noticed about the microwave is there are times when you can microwave something, get it out, and it tastes hot. You're like, oh, good. And then that's the first bite. The second bite, damn, I got to put this thing back in. It's still cold in the middle. That's not the Rams. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 4 years with a coach that just won a Super Bowl and was the youngest coach to ever do it. And he already has a coaching tree. Hold on. Did y'all hear what I just said? He's the youngest coach to ever win a Super Bowl, and he already got a coaching tree. Matter of fact, he just coached against his subordinate.
That's good.
He just coached against a coach that was on his staff. Man, y'all better stop playing. This ain't no microwave. This ain't no oven. This might be the air fryer of the Rams. I don't know what the Bengals are running, because you go from 2 wins to 4 wins to a Super Bowl appearance, and everyone's thinking, okay, well, we're going to take the next step. Or reality, history tells us, could this be the Atlanta Falcons that you just look up? Oh, they're there, and then where are they now? Cincinnati, all those games you were trailing in the first half. Cincinnati, most disciplined team. Those things are hard to attain in terms of success every time. So I don't know the formula. You got you a tremendous quarterback, you got you a tremendous receiver, and you got you a defense that you can win with. But if all these other pieces, the substance, the meat, they don't start drafting more and more in the meat of those rounds, might be a one-and-doner. Coming up, things did not go Joe Burrow's way, but we'll tell you if we are still impressed by the Bengals quarterback. We can answer that right now. Yes, that's next on Speak for Yourself. Joe Burrow had his Bengals in the Super Bowl in only his second season, but they fell short. Finished with 1 touchdown pass, and his offense did not score in the fourth quarter. After the game, Burrow said his team will, quote, take this and let it fuel us for the rest of our careers. Acho, were you impressed by Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl?
Impressed is strong. I wasn't impressed by Joe Burrow, but I wasn't disappointed by Joe Burrow. I was just, by Joe Burrow. Everything is relative, right? Joe Burrow, 1 touchdowns, no picks, had a better passer rating than Matthew Stafford. In my mind, he played a better game than Matthew Stafford, but he did not get the W. But why was I, to start, why was I at least pleased with Joe Burrow? I'm thinking about all the quarterbacks that were in the Super Bowl in their second years, within 2 years of being in the draft. Dan Marino, Tom Brady, Ben Roethlisberger, Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, and Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow really had better games than just about all of those individuals. Joe Burrow had a higher passer rating than all of them, but Russell Wilson. Joe Burrow didn't have any interceptions in the game. Dan Marino did. Colin Kaepernick did. Ben Roethlisberger had 2 picks and no touchdowns. So relative to all the second-year quarterbacks in the Super Bowl, Joe Burrow, high-key balled out.
High-key.
But relative to Cool Joe, who we always talk about, relative to the guy who we pump up based on his pregame outfits, relative to the guy who we see in Twitter on social media dancing after the game, relative to Stogie Joe, like relative to that Joe Burrow, I wasn't all that impressed. So how I looked at Joe Burrow, how I felt about his performance, just a meh all around.
I think it's not too strong for you to say you were disappointed in Joe Burrow, but you don't want to say that. I could tell. You're single, Acho. I could tell those are single man's ways. I'm married. I know how to tell my wife that dress ain't pretty. That's ugly. But, you know, when you're single, you got to figure out ways and routes to get to that same place, but not directly. I understand it, Acho. But you're disappointed. You know why you're disappointed? Because I could tell you I've been on this journey with you. I'm your best friend. I don't think you spent anybody else, name them, that you spend at least 2 hours with every day looking them in their eyes. Look at me now. And you force, get paid to listen to them. Like, God dang, shut up.
Why do you get dressed up for me?
And I get dressed up for you, big dog. Snacks.
Dinner tonight.
Darling. So stop this. I'm your bestie. I want some more respect online. Okay, here we go. You're disappointed. And before I even tell you what I feel, I just want you to understand and look in the mirror. You told me all year long the Rams were going to win the Super Bowl. And then one thing changed your mind, and one person alone, Joe Burrow. You told me that Joe Burrow was going to grab the stogie as bad as he does. What do you grab it like it's like he crippin'? He does like all that. Joe Burrow was going to do that, light it up, and it was going to be the Rams' ashes. He lightened up, right? That's what you told me. You said that on Friday. I said, Acho, all year long you've been going with the Rams. Do not flip to the Bengals for one player. Oh, no, Joe Burrow's that special. Do or die games, national champions. You start taking me to Pop Warner. I was like, dog, this is the NFL and this is the Super Bowl. And Joe Burrow balled. Now let's talk about how I felt about him. I was impressed. Not because I had him at lower expectations going into the Super Bowl. I just want to take people back to my first game in the NFL. And it was a preseason game. And I was like, did they just drop me in the middle of the 405 freeway with mammals. Because what the hell is going on? And that was a preseason game. Then you get to the regular season, you realize, oh, this is even different. How are these mammals running faster? Then you get to the postseason, you're like, all right, come on. You got to be kidding me. Y'all want it this bad? I never played in the Super Bowl. But Joe Burrow just did. And Joe Burrow went out there, outdueled Matthew Stafford, who potentially could have won the Super Bowl MVP. Woo! Joe Burrow, impressive. But this is what I understand you're feeling in terms of, okay, that's Burrow hitting me. Talking about dog doing too much. Calm down. This is why I am disappointed like you are, but I'm going to actually say it. Joe Burrow, you had the ball. You had the ball last. And this is what they pay you for. Or this is what your name has given you in terms of value, that you cool Joe. In that moment, tough task to ask a second-year player, Aaron Donald, Von Miller, staring at you. But I thought Joe Burrow in that moment wouldn't be in that position where we saw his last 5 drives, punt, 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 turnover on downs. I didn't think that's how cool Joe was going to go out.
I love it. I love your take. I'm about to hit you where it hurts, or at least hit you where you feel it, because I care for you. Last time we talked, MJ, your son, is in the 99th percentile in like height, correct, or like size?
Height, weight, academics, and
all things, right? 99.
And they only write 99 because they can't get him 100 because that's go to his head.
So he's elite. I'm sure every now and then, though, every now and then he might start crying for something that you're like, big dog, what are you crying?
Yesterday?
Okay. Right? He'll do something and you're like, bruh, you're so intelligent, you're so athletic, you're so all these things, but you're crying. Why are you crying? And you have to remind yourself, he's only 6.
Only 6.
So although he is in the 99th percentile, and although he is the greatest of 6-year-olds that have ever existed, you have to remind yourself, he's only 6.
He's only 6.
And yesterday, I had to remind myself, Joe Burrow.
Yes.
He's only in his 2nd year.
Say it, brother.
So that's why I'm not too disappointed, because Joe Burrow's in the 99th percentile of all second-year quarterbacks.
Facts.
The names I listed, Dan Marino, Hall of Famer, Tom Brady, Hall of Famer, Ben Roethlisberger, Hall of Famer, Russell Wilson, Hall of Famer. I listed also Colin Kaepernick. Clearly his career got derailed for other reasons off the field. He had a greater calling in his mind. So Joe Burrow, I listed amongst the likes of 4 Hall of Famers and Colin Kaepernick. So Joe Burrow is in the 99th percentile of quarterbacks in his 2nd year. I can't be disappointed if at the end of the game, when Jalen Ramsey is playing 10 yards off, Joe Burrow decides to force the ball downfield instead of just throwing the quick now pass like Aaron Rodgers would have done countless times and picking up the first down. I can't be disappointed because I remember he's only in his 2nd year. So just like you can't be disappointed when you see MJ crying because his Game Boy died or whatever the case may be, you got to remind yourself, wait a second. He's only 6. Yeah. That's where I'm at with Burrow.
Oh, that's good. He's only 6. He's not 16 Game Boy. What the hell? Not my house. And Colin Kaepernick's career didn't get derailed. He should have took the train with Jim Harbaugh back to college. Go back to college, because once Jim Harbaugh left, everything in San Francisco got derailed. It wasn't just Kaepernick. Man, I wish Harbaugh would have stayed just to see how good Cap was going to be. That boy was talented. Anyway, let's get back to your point. You're right. And I have to remind myself in this situation, that's why I was impressed. And when I reminded myself of seeing what I was seeing, which is Joe Burrow is managing this game. First half, a little shaky. Weird. Talk about upside down 50 Cent halftime show again. Joe Burrow gets sacked 1 time in the first half, and he's not balling out of control. Matthew Stafford was balling out of control until OBJ gets hurt. Then all of a sudden, Joe Burrow in the 3rd quarter especially start lighting it up. However, he's getting sacked every other play. 6 sacks in the 2nd half. But despite that pressure, he was lighting it up. It was a little weird. I guess I got to end with an MJ story since you brought up MJ. You know me, my favorite thing. Okay, I got to admit this to everybody out there. You know, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and me and MJ, we play hard together. He hits me very hard, and I try not to show him that, ow, 1, he got me and he's only 6, but 2, I don't want him to always think that he just got to express himself physically. So I want him to just think like, oh, I can punk my dad, I can punk anybody. Anyway, weird me. We were playing last Friday. I didn't tell you this. I got to tell you on there. You know, you my therapist. Last Friday we were playing. My son always runs behind me and hits me. And then I just go like, man, I move out the way. I try to do something like I'm still on the football field, right? And I moved and he fell. No lie. My son dislocated his thumb. Yo, I never thought this would happen. For one, I'm like, son, you're not playing football until you're in high school. And that's when you want to play football, not when I want you to play. And he fell into the bouncy water house, which we call it, this big old puffy castle. And he fell and he said, ah! And the cry was different. And his thumb went another way. And I saw my son, who has not played a down of football, look worse than his daddy. He got my fingers on there. Hurt my heart to see my boy cry. But I reminded myself, it happens. He's only 6. Coming up, Matthew Stafford has finally lifted the Lombardi Trophy. But we'll tell you if that puts him in the Hall of Fame. Next, don't speak for yourself. Before the Super Bowl, Matthew Stafford was in the top 5 all time for quarterbacks in touchdown passes and passing yards without a ring. But not anymore after he helped lead the Rams to a Super Bowl title, finishing with 3 touchdown passes, capping it off with a 79-yard drive for the go-ahead touchdown. Acho, this put Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame.
Yes, it will put Matthew Stafford in the Hall of Fame. Now, here's the dilemma, and everybody has to acknowledge the dilemma. You can get into the Hall of Fame based off team kind of success, your team being a good winning team, or individual success. I'm going to break this down in a way that's very digestible. Because for those that say Matthew Stafford isn't a Hall of Famer, they're right. And for those that say Matthew Stafford is a Hall of Famer, they're right. Look at Matthew Stafford versus Joe Flacco, because nobody's arguing that Joe Flacco is a Hall of Famer. Absolutely no one. But Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl. Joe Flacco has a Super Bowl MVP. Joe Flacco has 1 less Pro Bowl than Matthew Stafford, but remember, he has an additional Super Bowl MVP. Joe Flacco has significantly more wins than Matthew Stafford and a way higher winning percentage. Joe Flacco clearly has less passing touchdowns, has a few less 1,000 yards, but if Stafford's a Hall of Famer, then Joe Flacco with a Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP is definitely trumping Matthew Stafford's Super Bowl and Matthew Stafford's 1 Pro Bowl. So if Stafford's a Hall of Famer, then Flacco's a Hall of Famer. But you also could say, well, what about the individual success? Let's look at Matthew Stafford versus Matt Ryan, because that's a real good comp as well. Now Matthew Stafford got Matt Ryan beat. Stafford got himself a Super Bowl. But wait. Matt Ryan has 4 Pro Bowls. Matt Ryan is an All-Pro. Matt Ryan has been an NFL MVP. Matt Ryan has significantly more wins than Matthew Stafford. Matt Ryan has significantly more yards than Matthew Stafford. Matt Ryan has more passing touchdowns than Matthew Stafford. But we aren't arguing Matt Ryan should be a Hall of Famer. So if you say Matthew Stafford should be a Hall of Famer, you're right. But if you say Matthew Stafford shouldn't be a Hall of Famer, you're right.
God, I hate to disagree with you right there. Yes, he's a Hall of Famer, and there is only one right answer. Is Matthew Stafford a Hall of Famer? Yes. Is he not a Hall of Famer? You're wrong. Okay, let me give it to you. As you said, digestible. How about bite-sized digestible right here? If you have 50,000 yards and a Super Bowl ring, you are a Hall of Famer. You don't think I'm telling you the truth? Well, listen to these names. Is Peyton Manning a Hall of Famer? Yep, duh. Brett Favre? Yep. Aaron Rodgers? Yep. John Elway? Yep. Tom Brady? Yep. Drew Brees? Yep. Ben Roethlisberger? Yep. Eli Manning? Yep. Okay, all right. Yeah, sorry, Eli. All right. 50K in the ring, bro. Like my first girl, my fiance. 50K in the ring, man. You got something. Boys, you can... I'll stop talking about her. Anyway, 50K in the ring, you in, man. It's that simple. I can give you names. I give you other things in terms of criteria. Matthew Stafford's going to have 50K in the first game. He has 49 something right now. What I saw in your comparison was interesting because you had one under him and you had one above him. Like Matt Ryan had his moment. Remember they were playing the Patriots up 28-3. People were like, this could help him in his Hall of Fame candidacy because we knew his numbers were going to support a Hall of Fame resume. He just needed that ring. He needed that cherry on top. But then Joe Flacco, Joe Flacco got 8,000 fewer yards, 100 fewer touchdowns. Like that wasn't a comp. Matt Ryan's a comp, but Matt Ryan had his moment and then came up just short in that moment. Matthew Stafford, by coming up as a winner in the same level, Super Bowl champion versus a Super Bowl appearance, that's the difference. On top of 8K, so that ain't going to get it.
I love your point, but I think that's the biggest issue with the Hall of Fame dialogue. There's no quantifiable cutoff metric.
50K and a ring.
What I think is just as good is 40K and a Super Bowl MVP. Like, think about how crazy
Super
that
Bowl
is.
MVP, NFL MVP, you got me. Super Bowl MVP,
Because
we know guys that have won that.
To throw for 40K
Malcolm
means you're
Smith.
good. Now they win a Super Bowl MVP means in the greatest game you were really good. So to throw for 40K means you're good. Super Bowl MVP means in the biggest game you were really good. I would argue 40K and a Super Bowl MVP.
I need a quarterback because I got Santonio Holmes, I got Malcolm Smith.
But 40K in because here's what it does. Just Super Bowl MVP, you're right. Because then you can say Nick Foles, he can't get in the Hall of Fame. Malcolm Smith, he can't. But as soon as you say 40K means 4,000 yards a season for 10 seasons. That mean, you know what I'm saying? Like 4,000 yards a season, that's a lot. So 40K in a ring, you can make an argument. So now Flacco.
Okay, but you don't have that bar, that line of demarcation set with names. I got 50K.
Only because I didn't prep. Only because I didn't prep those names.
I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying you probably didn't want to prep that because it's going to bring some names up and you're like,
you think?
Well, you just brought up a stat and you had Kaepernick in there. Okay, not slighting you, Kaepernick. I am. But let's go here. 50K in a ring. Take a shot at Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, Eli, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, John Elway.
But here's what's all those cats. Give me that list again. Give me that list again, Sal.
Brady, Brees, Manning.
MVP.
Favre.
MVP.
Roethlisberger.
Favre didn't get it. Didn't Howard get it in the Super Bowl? Packers Super Bowl. Desmond Howard got it.
Yes.
So Roethlisberger, Super Bowl MVP.
Eli.
Super Bowl MVP.
Rodgers.
Super Bowl MVP.
Elway.
Super Bowl MVP.
So you got
7 of your 8. 7 of your 8 or 40K.
What's your criteria? My criteria is 8 of 8.
But I'm saying, like, Flacco could very well have an argument, and if Flacco can, then you look at it, but nobody's making it for Stafford.
Argument for what?
Okay, that's my point.
Joe Flacco?
If you aren't even going to listen to Flacco, who is 40K,
and he shouldn't listen to me either,
who is 40K in an MVP, then how can you be so confident in Stafford?
He won the MVP.
Super Bowl MVP.
See, that's what you keep doing in one game. You can't get in the Hall of Fame off of playing your best at the best moment. Because Matthew Stafford didn't even play his best in the best moment. Did Matthew Stafford play? He got outplayed by Joe Burrow.
I'm glad you went to Columbia.
Yes, Hall of Fame.
You're about to say you can't get into the Hall of Fame off one game.
You can't.
But Matthew Stafford did.
No, he didn't.
But without Matt Ryan,
he got off of one accomplishment.
Matt Ryan,
he didn't even play that well.
But that accomplishment was what game. He accomplished winning that game.
Matt Ryan lost the game and put up numbers.
He did.
Guess what? It wasn't a game. He did his part. What would you accomplish? Nah, damn it. Everything else about Matt Ryan is going to be the accomplishment. Like every year,
Does Matt Ryan get in? Should Matt Ryan get in?
I'm not going to lie. The bar is flimsy now in terms of who's getting in and out. Somebody you said went online and said that the bar is too low. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the point is, he should get in. I think he should get in.
But Flacco shouldn't.
Hell no. I don't even regard Joe Flacco in the same. You gave me his stretch postseason run of a Super Bowl run, and that's it.
He's top 20 in passing yards all time. He's one of the greatest winners based off winning percentage all time. He has a Super Bowl and a Super Bowl MVP. And you say, hell no. Yeah. But when we talk Stafford, it's a heck yes.
Yeah.
That's just... There's not that big of a gap based off the record, not talent. Let's not make a mistake about that. There's not that big a gap based off the accomplishments of Joe Flacco and Matthew Stafford for you to go from hell no to hell yes. There's not a hell
Matthew Stafford is going to go down top 5 in these categories, not just stuck at 20. But no, respect that. Look, just convict me if you must of being a prisoner of the moment. I do that, and I do that very well, damn it. Coming up, a lot of players stepped up when it counted, but we'll tell you who impressed us the most on the Super Bowl Sunday. That's next on Speak for Yourself. The number of people stood out to help get the Rams the Lombardi Trophy. Matthew Stafford had 3 touchdown passes, including the go-ahead touchdown in the closing minutes. Cooper Kupp caught 2 touchdown passes and was named Super Bowl MVP. And Aaron Donald had 2 sacks and a big play on 4th and 1 to shut down the Bengals. Acho, who impressed you the most?
Most impressive. Obviously, I've talked about Cooper Kupp. I will no longer. Sean McVay. Sean McVay, and very simple, he went all in. He pushed all his chips into winning a Super Bowl, and he did just that. Sean McVay is the biggest clown if the Rams do not win a Super Bowl, but more importantly, if the Rams don't succeed. Remember what Sean McVay did this offseason, trading away number 1 overall pick Jared Goff, who took him to a Super Bowl, to acquire Matthew Stafford. Remember what Sean McVay has done since his arrival. He has no first-round picks. McVay showed up in the offseason of 16. Rams have not had a first-round pick since. They're not scheduled to have a first-round pick since 2024. So Sean McVay was either going to look brilliant or was going to look idiotic. And he looked brilliant. He found a way to win in the biggest moments. He dialed up the best plays in the biggest moments, and his team got the W in the biggest moment. Everybody deserves some credit, like Mark Sanchez came up here and said.
We are the world.
Sean McVay.
Yeah. Oh, man, you answered it for me because I had all those names. Sean McVay, Cooper Kupp, Aaron Donald, Von Miller. I was going to go through it and sound all corny up here. Everybody, I love them. And then I realized Sean McVay pushed all his chips in, you said, right? But whose chips were they? Stan Kroenke. Damn it, let's go here. I just want people to understand what Stan Kroenke did. Ooh, big bank take little bank, the rich get richer. Relocation fee, $645 million. Write that check before you even come to L.A. Damn it. Gotta write it. Stadium cost, $5.5 billion. Oh, yeah, St. Louis want to sue you and the county, $790 million. Legal fees. They say Jerry Jones reported that they were $1 billion. First of all, who are his lawyers? And whoever they are, Brian Flores, call them God. $1 billion? $7.935 billion all in. And then the Super Bowl is at your place, your palace. And you win said Super Bowl. Woo, Stan Kroenke. Those are the chips. That's the one who's most impressive.